Good morning, class. Welcome to Saint Peter School. So, this is your science class, and we are on the chapter number one. So, I would request all the students, please take out your books, take out page number. Okay, so take out page number 12 because in last class we have finished all the three equations which is derived by the Newtons, all the three equations like S is equal to ut plus half at square, v is equal to u plus at, and v square is equal to u square plus 2s. And we have seen all the way that in the graphical way how it can be proved, and how by the examples we can prove it, right? And why these equations are derived, just to solve the some few problems of the motion. Okay. Now, in last class, I have given you some fill in the blanks related to the last topic which we already studied in the last chapter, last classes. Okay, so we will look up to the answer of those questions. So first of all, look up to the question. Let me show you the first question. First question is the motion of an object moving at uniform acceleration and can be described with the help of three equations. The equations are. Okay, so let me tell you the three equations. Just now I told you v is equal to u plus at, v square is equal to u square plus 2s, and s is equal to ut plus half at and half at. So you will find here the answer. It's written that all the three equations which we already derived. So these are known as the laws of equation, the three laws of equation. Now, look up to the second question. The change in the position of an object with time can be represented on the dash graph. So we have seen that the change in a position of an object to distance time graph, because the change in a position, it means the body is covering some distance with respective of time, then it is known as the distance time graph. So you can see here answer is given distance time graph. Okay. Now, look up to the third question. The distance time graph for a body moving with a uniform dash is a curve. The distance time graph for a body moving with a non-uniform dash is a curve. Okay, when we were looking up to the graphical representation, what happened when the body is moving in like a uniform speed or a uniform velocity, what happens, it always grow in an inclined way, straight inclined way. But when the body is moving with a uniform speed or the non-uniform uh, sorry if the body is moving with a non-uniform speed or the non-uniform velocity, it will be the always curve in shape. So it is written here the distance time graph, then it will be considered that here should be speed. Okay, non-uniform speed is a curve. Now, and the question number four, the motion of an object could be uniform or the non-uniform depending on whether its velocity is constant or non-constant. Yes, because whether velocity is constant or non-constant, the motion of an object could be. So let's see what is the answer written here. It's written here changing, or the non-constant you can also write, or the changing. Okay. Again, the motion of an object could be uniform or the non-uniform depending on whether its velocity is constant or it's changing or it's non-constant. Okay, the product of the velocity and time give dash of an object moving with the uniform velocity. Okay, so the product of velocity and time gives, what will it give? It will give always displacement. Okay, displacement is equal to change in velocity by time. So the product of velocity and time will give a displacement covered by the body. The area, question number six, the area enclosed by the velocity time graph and the time axis will be equal to the magnitude of the body. So the area enclosed by the velocity time graph and then the time axis will be equal to the magnitude of the displacement. Because when we discuss about this in the graph, what we were calculating, we were calculating actually the displacement. Let me show you the that graph. When we were finding out the magnitude of this area, what is this? This is the displacement covered by the body. So same question is written here, that area enclosed by the velocity time graph and time axis will be equal to the magnitude of displacement. Now if a body, you can see here the answer is written 6 and 5 and 6 is a displacement. Okay. Now, eighth number is okay. Seventh number is if a body moves with a constant velocity, then velocity time graph for this body would be dash parallel to the time axis. Okay, we have already seen that if a body moves with a constant velocity, then velocity time graph of this body would be would be move parallel to the time axis, right? What is the answer written here for the seventh number is straight line. Okay, it should be like straight line, or you or it's in the parallel itself defines that it is a straight line to the parallelly to the time axis. The acceleration of an object is change in velocity per unit time. Okay, so we already know that always uh, whenever we discuss the change in velocity, the change in speed, it is calculated up to like per unit how it's changing, and the per unit will be differed, like for example 5 minute unit they are taking or the 10 minutes unit they are taking. Okay, the acceleration of an object is change in velocity per unit time. Now ninth question, the value of dash can be determined using the velocity time graph. The value of displacement can be determined using the velocity time graph, and dash of moving body give its acceleration. Change of moving body give its acceleration. So let's see what is the answer. Okay, acceleration, slope of velocity time graph, v is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Okay, so what is the question? The value of acceleration can be determined using the velocity time graph. Yes, velocity time graph say we can find acceleration also, we can find displacement also, we can find so everything we can find if the and what are the formula for all this? That is v is equal to u plus half at square, s is equal to ut sorry s is equal to ut plus half at square, v is equal to u plus at, and v square is equal to u square plus 2as. So we can find displacement also, we can find acceleration also, or we can find velocity also through the velocity time graph. Now, today we are going to start with the very new topic, that is Newton's first law of motion. Okay, so we just on the page number 12, read out what could be the reason for the following. A static object does not move without application of force. Like if something is kept on your table, we see that it is not moving. But when for example when we push from our finger, what happened? There is a change in their position or they start moving. So what happened when we are pushing it, it means a type of force we are giving to the that object. The force which is sufficient to lift a book from a table is not sufficient to lift the table. Okay, so it means that different types of for moving a different types of object, we require a different types of force, or we can say that as the body size will increase or the body mass will increase, there is an increase in a force, we can say. An electric can the fruits on a tree fall down when its branches are shaken. Okay, when the branches are shaken, that it means we are putting some type of force. But what happens? Apple falls on the ground. So there is a force when it happens. What happen? There is a change in the position of apples occurs. An electric fan keeps on rotating for some time even after it is switched off. Now what happens when we lost lots of time, we observe that when we switch off the fan, is still moving after switching off, and after some time we come to know that now it's a switch off. Now, if we look for the reason for the above, we realize that object have some inertia. Now, what is inertia? Inertia is a stored energy, or the you can say potential energy, which is stored in the body for some time. Okay, we have learned that inertia is related to the mass of an object. Newton's first law of motion describes this very property and is therefore also called the law of inertia. So, in the first law, okay, Newton has given three laws of motion: first law of motion, second law of motion, third law of motion. Okay, so in first law of motion, we have what we are focusing that body is having some inertia, some stored energy in it, like and the very common example is a fan. When we switch off the fan is still rotating. It means there is some energy is already stored. Where body was in continuous movement, and when we switch off, what happened that there's some energy is already stored in that fan, and by the help of that energy, fans keep rotating for some time. So we will see in the same thing in Newton's first law. Okay, there is one experiment written here, small experiment. Fill a glass with sand, keep a piece of cardboard on it, keep a 5 rupee coin on the cardboard. Now strike the cardboard hard using your finger. Observe what happens. You can do this experiment, what will happen. So now we will discuss what is balance and unbalanced force, and after once you will understand this, now you will understand what will happen. So what is balance and unbalanced force? There are two types of forces, namely balanced force and unbalanced force. If the resultant of all the forces acting on a body is zero, then the forces are called balanced force. Means like if you are if you are forcing something, okay, and the body is not moving. Okay, so in that case, what will happen? There is a zero force will be zero. So how actually it happens? Very common example: when you push the wall, what happened? Wall start moving from their place? No, never, because the equal amount of force is applied by the wall also on you, and when we are forcing. The wall in there is a force is in a balanced way, that's why wall doesn't move from your body, and you keep forcing. So that type of force is called balance force. To understand this concept, consider an object rest on a surface such as block on the table as shown below in the figure. Weight of the block is balanced by the reaction force from the table pushes up against the block. Now what is it's trying to say that the on the table some blocks is kept. What happened when the block is kept on this table? Does it fell down? Does it break this table and fell down? No, because the force is balanced here. Like the whatever the force is done by this block on the table, the same type of force is done by the table on the block, and the force is balanced. Hence, what happened? Body is in a rest. So the weight of the block lying on the table is balanced by the reaction force from the table top. If the forces of an object are balanced, or if there are no acting on it, then the object that is not moving stays still, and the object is moving continues to move at the same speed, the same in the same direction. Now what when the experiment which is given in your book, what happened when the coin is kept on the cardboard? Does it fall down into the glass, break the cardboard and fell into the glass? No. Why? Because there is a balance force between the cardboard and the coin. But when you will strike out the cardboard, what happens? Coin will fall down into the glass. Why it happens? Because when the cardboard is there is no force putting in nothing is forcing coin to be still. What happens? Then coin falls into the glass. So and so when coin was on a cardboard, and there's a type of balance force between cardboard and coin. If the forces of an object are balanced, if there are no force acting on it, then the object that is not moving stays still, and object that is moving continues to move at the same speed and in the same direction. The same thing, if the coin is kept in the cardboard, there it will be still because there is a balance force. But if there is a no balance force, what happened? Moving continues to move at the same speed. It started moving and fell into the glass. Now, next topic is unbalanced force. What is unbalanced force? If the resultant of force acting on a body is not zero, the forces are called unbalanced force. To understand this, consider the figure 2, which shows a block on a horizontal table and two strings X and Y are tied to the two opposite faces of the block. Let's see the picture. Okay, so let us now pull the block using the string in two different directions, such that two opposite forces of the different magnitude acts on the block. Since two forces acting on the block are on a different magnitude, the block would begin to move in the direction of the greater force. What it's trying to say that here we have seen that there is a balance force between table and the block. Now I have tied two strings from both of the side. For example, from one side I'm trying to pull it, and from one side you are trying to pull it. So the force which I am providing to it is 60 Newton, and the force which you are providing it to, it's 120 Newton. So who will able to force it? You will able to force it because you are putting a lots of amount of force on it to pull from along your side. So it depends upon the different types of force which what with the person is particularly putting on it. So it is not balanced. So what happen, in the block will move to the this side. But if in the case, for example, you are also putting 120 Newton force and I am also putting 120 Newton, the body will not move because there will be a balance force. But if there will be a no balance force, like for example, I have put it 120 Newton, you have put it 60 Newton, so I am able to pull this block in the my side. So that is called like unbalanced force. And how you will find out the value of this? Like what is the unbalanced force here? So 120 minus 60, 60 Newton is required, is then unbalanced force here put it, so that the particular block is able to move. If all the forces acting on a body result in unbalanced force, then the unbalanced force can accelerate the body. It means that net force or the resulting force acting on a body can either change the magnitude of its velocity or change the direction of its velocity. Okay, so what it's trying to say that if, for example, if there is a different types of force kept on the block, then what happened? There might be a different types of velocity or different types of displacement occurs, and different types of displacement occurs means different type of velocity occurs. So what happens? Every value will change in the, and every value is depend on the force which is put it on the this block to move. The force that opposes the relative motion between the surface of two objects in contact and acts along the surface is contact is called the force of friction or the simply friction. Now, what is friction? Friction is that force which prevents that block to move move. Like I am pulling some blocks and you are also pulling that blocks, but but block itself also push but blocks itself also putting some force on the table to stay in the rest only, and that force is known as friction. मतलब आप खींच रहे हो इधर से, मैं खींच रही हूँ इधर से, बट क्या हो रहा है, ब्लॉक भी एक फोर्स रखता है अपने अपना टेबल पे, जिससे कि वो जो वो पहले फोर्स था जो रेस्ट पोजीशन पे था, दैट फोर्स, सो दिस ब्लॉक आल्सो ट्राई टू रेस्ट ओनली, सो दैट टाइप ऑफ फोर्स इज नोन एज द सिंपली द फ्रिक्शन बोलते हैं उसको, रेजिस्टेंट होते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड फ्रिक्शन. Now, in next class, we will discuss about what is actually how and what is the like. Then you just see on the page number 12, an object continues to remain at the rest or in a state of uniform motion along a straight line unless an external unbalanced force acts on it. So, what we understand through this experiment, that that body is try to be rest in a rest position until and unless somebody is moving putting force on it. मतलब कोई भी बॉडी रेस्ट में ही रहना चाहता है जब तक कि कोई उसको फोर्स न करे, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड द लॉ, न्यूटन्स फर्स्ट लॉ. एंड वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट मोर अबाउट इट, एंड वी विल डिस्कस ऑल द मोशन, all the Newton's law in the next class. So till the time, just keep revising all the point, give reading to your books continuously, so that we can you better understand when we discuss all these topics. So till the time, take care and bye.